My nigga Badass brought me in this game. To be honest with you, back in the 90s, and as I got a chance to sit back and run with him as he was moving with the dog pound and all that shit, my whole thing with Badass is that was just my nigga. Nobody could say nothing to that nigga, and I was just his hitman. And me being black and Mexican, I felt like the brown never had a chance to get their shine. So always talking with Badass, I was like, man, we gotta get the brown, we gotta get the Eses popping, and he was 100% with it. You know what I'm saying? In the 90s, we was going against the grain. Back in those times, people didn't want to fuck with Mexicans. They didn't. They don't want to fuck with Mexicans because it was a race war in the streets. You know what I'm saying? And you had the Chicano rappers, and then you had the black rappers, and it was kind of hard to even venture out and fuck with the Chicano rap, because even if I wanted to fuck with a Mexican, I had to find out what hood he was from and find out the beefs and the people that they had with the black side. You feel what I'm saying? So it was deep because Badass was like, he was revolutionary. You know what I'm saying? He was revolutionary. We was all about peace and all about the positive. So it was like, we didn't think about all that because we wasn't from a gang. We started our own shit. You feel what I'm saying? We started our own shit, and me being Mexican, you know what I'm saying, it was easier for me to go out and reach out to a Mexican and be like, hey, we like your get down, no matter what this political shit is, we're gonna bring you in and we're gonna develop you and get you structured. So that's kind of how all that shit started, you know what I'm saying? And Badass, one of the first features he did was probably with Mr. D. I say that was probably like in 97, 98. Mr. D from Southland. And I think that's kind of how it all started. You know what I'm saying? He was like, I don't know, man, if I should do a song with Eses. And I was like, man, fuck it, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? And he did it. And we went against the grain ever since. It was a success because now the Mexicans is like, okay, all the black niggas they're not really like that. You know, there's some niggas out there that really care for our people. So we started building this bond behind the scenes, and that had nothing to do with these other artists. We was building our own bond, and we was creating our own history behind the scenes. And then one thing just led to another, and then I end up being introduced to an artist by the name of Down, which is from Oxnard. And at the time, I had a producer named Fingers that I had met, and I introduced him to Badass, and Badass introduced him to the Dog Pound, and then this shit just started forming. The whole Chicano rap game just started fucking with us, because in order to get to Snoop Dogg, you had to go through us, because we was the ones showing love to the Chicano rappers. So all the Chicano rappers was like, Badass is a black, so they, you know, politically they couldn't fuck with the homie, but because I had Mexican mixed with me, they was like, we gonna fuck with Nitty. You know, we went to the pen, woo, because, you know, my family from Chihuahua, Mexico, they did the whole breakdown. It was like, they started running it, and we just started making history ever since then. You know what I mean? When people wanted to deal with Snoop Dogg, I hit up Badass like, hey, Bad, you know, the SA homies want to fuck with Snoop. They got the money, and I just connected them, and then Bad brought them to Snoop, and then it was history. And at that time, we made history where 90% of the black and brown features that you hear today, we the ones who put that together. You know what I'm saying? And it just evolved, and everybody just started mixing with each other, and it was something that's never been done. That's why when I see black and Mexicans do music today, I feel like we was one of the people that founded that, because before us it was Eazy-E. You know what I'm saying? Eazy-E had put Frost in the game, and he had put Brownside, but it wasn't no black niggas fucking with Mexicans other than Eazy-E and us and Cam and a few other motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? So I felt like we made history on a whole different level, man, and the decision that we made to do that, and believe me, we got into fights. I got into over 15 fights fucking with Eses, bringing them into this culture, because some of the homies was like, Nitty, nigga, we ain't fucking with the Eses, cause they shooting the homies up. You ain't helping them niggas. And I'm like, bro, the homie ain't like that though. Nah, nigga, fuck him. And I'm like, nah, nigga, it ain't like that. And then we get into an argument. I'm like, look, if any nigga got an issue with it, let's run the fade, cuz, and let's handle the shit. So that's what I did. There was a point in time where I really had to go to these different neighborhoods and catch these fades, and that's information a lot of people don't know about. That's how I started. My name started getting out there in the streets. Like, there's a nigga named Nitty. He really down for these for these Mexicans, cuz, and cuz gonna run fades with any nigga who feel like, you know what I'm saying. And I had to do that. But at the end of the day, some of the niggas that I ran fades with later on in life, they was like, Nitty, I seen what you was trying to do. They was like, I see what you was trying to do. My bad, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? So it ended up working itself out. But, you know, out of all that, man, we did have an artist named Down. He had did a song called Lean Like a Cholo. And that song broke records that's never been broke. You know what I'm saying? As far as him selling 1 million ringtones. And I felt like, you know what I'm saying, we on to something big. You know, as long as it's positive and we ain't, even with the essays, I'm like, look, I can bring y'all into this shit, but y'all niggas gotta have your head right and you gotta be respectful. So we don't get together and do what the fuck we gotta do amongst each other and be united and understand the clear vision on what the higher leaders trying to do to our people, the lower class citizens of the United States of America, we're gonna be fucked. And all we got is music. We don't have anything else. We don't. You know what I'm saying? So unity and coming together with these cultures, that we don't do this shit now and lock this shit in now. It's 2020 now. You got to think about back in the days when it was none of what it is now. I see the process of advancement, and I'm proud of it. You know what I mean? And I'm proud to say that I'm like one of the forefathers of that shit. You know what I'm saying? And we're just going to keep this shit going. You know what I mean? And there's only one race, nigga, and that's the human race. And once we understand that shit, nigga, we're gonna be straight. You know what I'm saying? From the streets to the penitentiaries, it doesn't matter, man, because at the end of the day, the government is enslaving us to do shit that we ain't even supposed to be doing. If it's not for people like us, there's other people like us that really try to push this positive line. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't even say positive. I think it's just more a clear mind of what's really going on in America, because in order to be a leader, you got to really understand what goes on, and it's just not just start with your neighborhood. You got to understand what's going on in the news worldwide. We're losing this shit. Hip hop is a foundation that's being lost. The devil has jumped into this culture and has stripped all the mentality, the deep thinkers, the producers, the video people. You get somebody, you know what I'm saying? It's just it's a corrupted situation, and we got to take this shit back. And that's what Gritty Style's about. That's how we started this shit. This double dollar sign low life angel shit. We here. You know what I'm saying? And even my nigga Badass, you know what I'm saying? He was the general of this shit. And this is something that he preached and philosophized his whole career. You know what I mean? And I just feel like, you know, now that he passed, I think that we just have to learn from a lot of mistakes in the industry and be better than that shit. And overcome, because we have one shot at this shit. You know what I mean? And I think we got a good chance to do it, because I'm in a position right now to build Voltron. So artists, new cameramen, new producers, new people that haven't experienced all the shit we experience, you gotta fuck with Gritty Style, because we a movement. And we're gonna show you and teach you, and we're gonna come together and we're gonna beat them niggas, because it's deep. You know what I mean? Everybody glorifies this music game and they get caught up by the views. I had this young nigga was laughing at this old nigga. And these is two musicians. And the young nigga had a gang of views. Every video, he's getting 500 to 1 million views. He has way more followers. Then you got this legend nigga that don't know what the fuck he's doing, because he grew up being catered to. They have an argument where these niggas is really about to trip on each other. And the OG nigga had a pistol. This young nigga wild as fuck had a pistol. And they both holding their own, and I came in between this shit and really had to decode the selfishness of both concepts that they were trying to put to the table. You feel what I'm saying? This internet game got this shit fucked up, and it's fucking everybody up. And if we don't put our essence in this shit now, the leaders, Because everybody that you see online, these legends and all that shit, just because they buzzing and all that shit, that don't mean they a leader, my nigga. It doesn't mean they a leader. I know that. It doesn't mean they a leader. Half these niggas is cowards. You feel what I'm saying? I got a little Mexican artist that I've been developing him since he was 13 years old. And the reason why I even developed him was because I felt like I needed more change, because a lot of the artists that I was dealing with, they had their own agenda. You know what I'm saying? I was always trying to tell them, hey, we need to do something positive. They wasn't trying to hear that because it was gang banged out. So I was like, all right, cool. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to have to go to a younger generation that don't know nothing about that shit and develop something like that and see how that work out. And then when my mom passed, one of the last things my mom told me, because I never told my mom about the music game. You know what I'm saying? I never told her about what I was involved with. You know what I'm saying? And in her last days, you know, because me being in a foster home, my mom, she told me that she was sorry because I lived a fucked up life as a kid. And I was like, nah, Mom, I'm good out here. You know what I'm saying? You raised a leader. You know, I'm starting to tell her all this shit. So she was, you know, I'm telling her all the, you know, about because she already knew about my nigga Badass, but Bad brought me into the game so that I can be able to help artists out. And at that point in time, I played all these different songs that I plugged and hooked up. And then she was like, Mio, that's cool, but you can't play me nothing positive. And then when she said that, it kind of like fucked me up, because all the songs that I did play for my mom, nothing was really positive. And then she was like, what you need to do is find you a youngster and develop him to rap how you think, because you always been a leader your whole life. And I was like, damn. And my mom told me she was tired. And she went to bed, and my mom passed away. So the last thing my mom ever told me was to find a youngster and develop him to rap how you think. And that's how Young Gritty came. 7 days later, I get a call, and the homie was like, man, this is a little young kid, man. You might could work with him, man. He's a little young, Nitty, and at the time, I was managing Busy Bone. You know, I was helping him with his career. I didn't manage him on paperwork, but at the time, Busy Bone was homeless. I landed him a book deal. I got him a book deal. I got him gigs, started getting him sponsors, getting him back on his feet. And when this little kid came and my mom passed, I just left the whole mainstream alone. Everybody. I cut everybody out. If they wasn't about nothing positive, I wasn't fucking with them. You know what I'm saying? I didn't give a fuck who it was at this time, because now I felt like I'm on a mission. You know what I'm saying? And I found my mission in life, and that was to raise the new generation to be level-headed and clear-minded and to open their third eye. And that's how Young Gritty came. And you know what I'm saying? And it's been history ever since.